One of the common misperceptions that people have about living a more conscious or more spiritually alive life is that if I'm doing my meditations and if I'm really exploring and studying, loving consciousness and compassionate way of being, then shouldn't my life just get gradually more pleasing, more joyful, more easy, just on a nice, beautiful upward trajectory, on and on? No, that's not how it works. Oftentimes we in our journey, we really come up against the stuff that rocks our world. So how do we work with that? How do we explore that? How do we be with that reality? Let's explore. So in working with people here in Sedona in my practice, one of the things that we always make sure we cover is that when people start to recognize a liberation, a sense of relief, of peace, when they start to awaken and discover a part of themselves that is always at peace, that is pure loving awareness, is just consciousness, it's prior to the conditioning, or it is the self that is unperturbed by any of the conditioning or programming that we've gone through in our lives, and the wounding and the difficulties. When that starts to awaken, the feeling is, well, now that that's present, I should just pretty much feel good all the time, right? And there can be a real disappointment or a confusion that arises when somebody's on their journey, on their path, and living more aware and conscious and awake, and discovering such beautiful truths about the conscious nature of ourselves, how it is stable, how it is peaceful, how it is loving, naturally, authentically, without having to think about it. It just is that. And in this journey of starting to become more familiar with that self, with that truth, there's some confusion that arises around, wait a minute, why am I feeling so scared again? Why am I feeling so angry again? Why am I feeling so triggered again? I've come to know the self beyond those things, the eternal self, the imperishable, loving nature of consciousness. I've come to start to know that. So how is it that I'm still experiencing these what feel like old patterns and old triggers? There's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful teaching. If you ask for anything with devotion, I want to be more compassionate. I want to be more loving. I want to be more understanding or less judgmental. Let's take that one. I want to be more understanding, or I want to be less judgmental. So I can just be present with life and not so judgmental about it. I want to be less judgmental. The way life basically works is it just, I say it says, but it energetically, the way it just flows, is that when we say, I'm devoted to being less judgmental, life says, okay, so let's start with showing you all the ways that you're judgmental. Let's trigger all of your judgments. And initially we're like, no, because the initial experience we start to have is not the one of not being judgmental, it's the one of being very judgmental. And we think we've got it wrong. We think something must be off. I'm asking to be less judgmental, and I'm feeling all my judgments. But that's the way it works. If we want to be more loving, life will say, let me show you all the ways you're not loving. Let me show you. So you can meet them. So you can understand them. So you can love them. So you can allow them. In Vipassana meditation, it is taught that everything arises so that it may pass. But we have to allow it to arise and not vilify the old feelings. There's a place about a 20-minute walk from here called Amitabha Stupa. A stupa is a place, a Buddhist tradition place where people go to be in their practice, to be in their devotion. It's like a church. And the one we have here is outdoor. It's an edifice. It's a beautiful, a stupa is a certain style or shape of edifice. And you walk around it in a clockwise way. So it's always on your right. And you are in your prayers, you're in your devotions, you're in your explorations and your inquiries. And when I go there, I do not go to only meet my peace and my love and my devotions. I go to meet my judgments because it is a place where they can get triggered. People are walking the wrong way around the stupa. You know, we're in Sedona. There's a lot of tourists. There's a lot of people who don't know, and they come to this beautiful place, and they've never been to a place like that. And they walk the wrong way, and some leave trash, and some just don't know about being a little bit more quiet, and they're speaking quite loudly and not in consideration or awareness of others. And that triggers some of my oldest stuff of people. People to me, inconsideration is scary to my conditioning, to my programming, to my egoic self. I had enough betrayal or abuse when I was young in different ways that I recognized came at the hands of people who were simply ignorant of love and beauty, and were in their pain. And so that still can trigger me. Oh, people, why do people have to be so inconsiderate, uncaring? That feels to me dangerous. It feels threatening. So I go to meet my judgments. I go to meet all the places within me that still need to be loved and allowed to arise and pass and let go. Baba Ram Dass tells a story about being with his first teacher in India, his only teacher in India. And if you don't know who Baba Ram Dass is, he passed about 6 months ago, and he was one of the first Westerners to really bring some of the teachings from the East to the United States and share them widely. And he was just a lovely, beautiful, humorous and engaging and kind man who was very much an adventurer of the spirit and an explorer, and shared these teachings. And he tells a story about going, I think, on his second visit to India to see his teacher, and his teacher pulled him aside and said, "Baba Ram Dass, love everybody." And he felt into it, and he said, I can't. My mind is so full of judgments. So to recognize that, just to recognize it, and realize, okay, yeah, I'm there, good. I want to feel those. I want to know those. I want to feel how those judgments, when we start to get more familiar with love and loving consciousness, then when we're in our judgments, in the fear that predicates or is the foundation of our judgments, we feel how different that feels from the loving consciousness. So it's beautiful. We get to notice and go, oh yeah, there's that. Oh, There's my pain, there's my conditioning, there's my wounding. And let it arise, let it move, let it pass. Let it move into the consciousness of love that we can learn to hold, even for our deepest shadows. About 6 months ago, I had reached, if you will, another level, another threshold of surrender, of allowing, of embodiment, of peaceful presence, that which can just be in the world and notice the world and witness the world without having so many opinions or judgments or assessments about everything. Just to be with, in real vast, beautiful, deep peace with the world around me. And noticing that, recognizing kind of the meditation within which that moment, that new threshold revealed, that new expansiveness of loving consciousness revealed itself. And feeling that. And I think it was like a day later, maybe it was even the same day, I was visited by all my old, well, probably not all of them, but a great many of my oldest fears and doubts and stories. The mind just started playing all my greatest hits. Who do you think you are? You're exploring this stuff that a lot of people don't understand, and you're just a fraud yourself. And what if people reject you? What if you start to share this love within you out into the world, and what if people reject you? And people are dangerous, and people are ignorant, and it's not a safe world. Which is largely true. It's not necessarily a safe world. But my fear of that and my inability to be with that and that sense of it just made me want to run and hide and go away and stop engaging. I mean, just all the classics. I just wanted to curl up in a ball. And I just felt the anxiety arising within me. And it was like, whoa, where's this coming from? Wait a minute, I just reached this whole nother level of being with. And here's this stuff just bubbling up. And it was the feeling of, I thought I had moved beyond this. I had thought this was gone. But the beauty was, when we find that rest of peace, what we start to find is that it can stay present and notice and allow some of our deepest stuff to come up. And I was able to, blessedly, just to sit with these feelings and not struggle with them or be fearful of them or fight them, but just notice them and allow them to be there and marvel with great curiosity at, oh my God, wow, there's still that. Whoo, there it is. Wow, this is fascinating. And to feel it. To feel the old pains, to feel the old fears, but not collapse into them. And just to feel them arise. And I think that lasted a couple of days. And then it all really moved through. It arose and passed. And what had happened was, and will happen for anybody who's on this journey, when you arrive in a deeper state of presence and peace and authentic compassion, some of the deepest stuff within you will arise. And it almost is like it's saying, you're ready now. Before, this would have been too much. You would have run away. You would have fought. You would have perhaps gone to your addictions and your distractions. But now that you've reached this new state, now that a true loving consciousness has blossomed more fully within you, now you can meet even this. Let's bring up some of your darkest fears, because you couldn't meet them before, but now that you can, They're going to start showing up. And for me, it was like they were queuing up. It was like one after another. They were all getting in line going, oh, love me next, love me next, heal me next. So remember that in your work, in your awakening, in your journey of consciously living, recognize that that you will be visited by some of your deeper fears, uncertainties, doubts, your conditioning, basically, that have been waiting for you to be present enough and loving enough to allow them to arise and be loved. All right. If you enjoyed this guidance, if it's valuable for you, please do click on the thumbs up, the like button. It helps to make sure that this content is available to more and more people. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, so you'll be notified when more posts and when more videos are available. And thank you for your journey and your courage and your devotion and dedication to living more consciously, more peacefully, and more powerfully alive.